Hey everybody, it's John, small town, small time bookseller. And I'm here because I sold a book or two. So I'm going to tell you all about those because that's what I do. I don't do any garage sale videos. I don't do any yard sale videos. I don't do any GoPros of the good old bins. Looking at my hands like the snow falling faintly through the universe and faintly falling like the descent of their last end upon all the living and the dead. No, that's not me. That's it. That's the other guys. That's what they do. Not me. I'm just going to tell you what I sold and I'm going to get out. We're going to just grab this right here. So let's get into it. Since the last video, I have sold 11 books for a grand total of $281.95, which is a $25.63 average, which is wonderful. That puts me above my $25 average, which is kind of like my goal. And I also sold 2 Nota books, and those are big sales, and I'll talk about those as well. Before we get into the books, I need to stop and just thank you, all of you who have subscribed lately. I have made quite the milestone personally, professionally, not really personally, but I guess it is because it's my channel. But I hit 500 subscribers today, and the majority of those have been like in the last week. So all of you new subscribers, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And for the remaining 2 or 3 of you out there who have not actually subscribed, you better do it because there's only a few spaces left, and you want to get one of those. So again, thanks so much for the support. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see if we can, keep the growth going. This has been an exciting week, to say the least. So let's get into the books, because I know that's actually the reason why you're here. I did have some pretty good sales this week, some smaller sales, but also some pretty good ones. So we're going to kind of just mix it up a little bit. I'll go through all the books I sold. It was 11 of them, and I'm just going to check them off so I don't repeat any of them. So first one, this book had been sitting on my shelf for about a year and a half. So I was really happy to sell anything that's been sitting on the shelf for that long. Content review for the text certification for ESL, $10. I hope it's still current. I hope it's still helpful. I was surprised it sold because, those state tests can be updated quite often, but I'm sure the information is still good in that one. So got that one out of the old room for $10. The next one, so last video I mentioned these quick start guides. There's a whole series of them, and I sold last week was one on SQL that I sold. Well, I sold one today on starting a business, the starting a business quick start guide. I took an offer at that one for $8, which is lower than I typically ever want to sell a book for. I usually don't list anything that I think will sell for less than $10. I had this one up for $14, and a lot of times I'll list things at $14 or $12 where I can come down to $10, or $14 I'll come down to $12. So I always kind of have the $22. I list a lot of things at like $22 because I know that I'll send an offer for $20. But this time somebody made me an offer at $8, and I was about to counter, but I saw they're from Colorado, and I am from Colorado as well, so they got the Colorado discount. Hope they appreciate it. And so I did sell that for $8 for the Starting a Business Quick Start Guide. Where should we go next? SAT Prep Black Book. I just listed this one. I had it on my shelf in ye olden death pile yonder. Actually, it was the death pile that's over there. That's all death pile too. I hate to admit it, but I pulled that one out. I wanted to list it before I thought it got outdated, because it's been sitting there quite a while, and so I just listed it, and a couple days later it sold. Amazing how that happens. It hadn't sold the whole time. It was sitting in the death pile, not once, and then I list it and it sells. But it's over $10. Where should we go next? Let's do the next one. How about this one? Civil PE practice exam, $14. So anytime you can get a practice exam, study guides, things like that, they very, very often will sell. People need to study for things, and so if you can sell it, if you have it, it's going to sell. So this was the practice exam for the civil PE. And then what should we do next? How about, oh, this is a fun one. Tom Swift and his Aquatomic tracker. Wonderful cover. I love the look of this book. Vintage. Forget the publication date on it. I didn't write that down, but just a cool title. I loved Tom Swift and his Aquatomic tracker. I thought it was just classic. So that was a wonderful book. So I got that one. It did sell for $15. I picked it up at the Goodwill bins for 33 cents. And it's, you know, it's out for quite a while. That's not something that everyone is eager to get. But it did finally sell, and I was very happy that it did. Just like I sold SAT book earlier, I sold an ACT. The ACT Made Simple for $15. So that makes, you know, 3 or 4, you know, the ESL, the ACT, the SAT, the Civil PE, those are all study guides, you know, test prep kinds of things. I sold another vintage book. This one, The American Way of Death. This was a 1963 book, and this one sold for $25. This one I got, this was in the group of books that I got from my aunt. She gave me dozens of books, boxes of books I've been slowly going through and finding the ones that are in good shape that still have some value and are listing those. So that one sold for $25. So that was a pretty good one as well. Another $25 sale right here. The CFR Title 29 Labor Part 1926. Law books will sell. Law dictionaries sell wonderfully. Anything related to law. I sell a lot of things related to law. So if you ever see anything of those in that line, pick that up because it's probably going to be worth a lot. This is another kind of a textbook. The AACN Essentials of Critical Care. $34.95 on that one. And I just listed that one a couple days ago too. I just bought it last week. That was a bin drop book, so I don't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but $1 or $2 at the very most, sold for $34.95. And then my big sale of the week, book sale, is this one, the Kidder Parker Architects and Builders Handbook. This is 18th edition from 1942. It's in very good shape. Got this one at the bin drop, 33 cents. And it sold for $70. I had it up for $75. Guy sent an offer, said, can we do $70 to cover the shipping? Heck yeah, absolutely. So I sold that one for $70. All right. I'm going to go and mention the two Nota books that sold. Right here, this Olive Union Pro Hearing and Bluetooth Music Aid. I picked up 4 of these. And I sold 2 of them this week. So they each sold for $115 each. So this is one of those cases where I had mentioned in the last video about my philosophy when I'm going to the bin drop, which is an Amazon returns store where everything is $9 on Saturday, $8 Sunday, $6 on Monday, $5 on Tuesday, $3 on Wednesday, $1 on Thursday, closed Friday, and then they restock Saturday. So Saturday, everything's full, and it just, you know, dwindles down from there. So they put out some new stuff on Sundays, but usually that's it. After Sunday, it's just attrition down to where on Dollar Day, you're still can find some stuff, but not the big stuff. So if I'm there on $9 day, I'm looking to spend $9 on something. That's a lot for me. When I'm, you know, you can see I'm spending 33 cents on these other books. I wanted to either be able to flip it in a week to double or triple my money. And so in that case, I'll be scanning an eBay app and looking at the solds and are there solds. If it's $9 and there's a few listed for, let's say $20, but there aren't any sold, I'm not gonna buy that. I don't want it sitting around for a long time in order to double my money. But if I see it's $9 and there's a ton of sold ones for in the 20s, yeah, I can do that. Otherwise, the other angle that I'll have at the bin drop is, does it have a lot of value? So when I looked up these, I saw that these were selling for over $100. And so and actually this is one of the lucky ones. Not only are they selling for $100, but they're also selling quite a bit for $100. So other things I've gotten, there's a camera bridle, a dual camera that you'd carry 2 cameras around. And it had listed and sold for over $200. So, but not many. So I bought that one for, at that time, $8. And it's sitting there, but I figure it eventually will sell. So lots of value, but maybe long tail, or lower amount of value, but it's selling. And so this is one of the lucky ones that where it was both. It has a lot of value and it's selling. So I did sell. I've sold 3 of them in total so far. All right, so then my last book I want to talk about is my last sale, and it's going to kind of lead me into something else I wanted to talk about. So this one right here, The Dragons of a Lost Star, Dragons of a Lost Star by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. By itself, would not normally have a ton of value, but this one was signed by both authors. So that's my talking point I want to talk about today is when you're at the Goodwill bins, if you're at Goodwill, open up books and see if they're signed. You'll be surprised. I grabbed a stack. This is not everything that I have. Sometimes you'll see ones that'll actually say autographed copy. So this is Faye Kellerman's Grievous Sin, not in any way valuable book at all. And it's only slightly more valuable because it's signed by Faye Kellerman. So if anyone wants this book, they're going to get the one that's signed by the author. Other ones, this is a special autographed copy of Texas Secedes. But anyways, and so you can see it's signed right there. So if anybody wanted that, they'd rather have the signed one. But they don't always say that. So if I look up ones like My Huckabee, nonfiction is usually the ones that I'll just open it up and see if it happens to be signed, right? So what are most people going to do when they see this book sitting in the Goodwill bins? They're going to scan the barcode, see it's not worth a whole lot, toss it back. If you take a minute on books like nonfiction or biographies, here's Oksana Bayul, the ice skater. Doesn't say anything here, but inside it is signed by Oksana Bayul. So again, just scanning it, you see this in the bins, you scan it, doesn't have much value, but since it's autographed, it does. Sometimes, this is one example. So nonfiction, Joel Osteen is signed. Cookbooks, I've sold a Alton Brown cookbook that was signed. I sold a what was her name? Well, here's a Yara de Laurentiis, which is signed. And I also have Emerald, which is signed. This one actually says autographed copy, right there. So those are very often signed. I was trying to remember the one who went to jail that's always hanging out with Snoop Dogg. What's her name? That's the one. Yeah, I had a book that was signed by her sister-in-law, which is kind of fun. So in the inscription, it said something about, you know, I think it was her brother's wife, and he mentioned something about it. So it was signed by her as well on a book plate, and then under it, it had a little inscription about from the sister-in-law. So that's kind of cool. But it didn't say anything on the outside. You wouldn't know unless you opened it up. Another biography, An Incredible Journey by Holland Bynum. Popular? No. But if somebody wants this, they might like to have the one that's signed by Holland Bynum. So that's, you know, this is not at all everything that I have. This is probably a really cool one here. So this book on its own has some value. This is Tiger Flower. And it is from late 60s, I believe, when it's published. But it's actually signed by both Robert Favre and Fleur Cools. Not sure how to pronounce that name. But that's a pretty cool one. So that adds a lot of value to a book. Something like that Faye Kellerman book, you know, it doesn't add a lot. That book, I think I have up for $10. Not a whole lot more than a non-signed book. But if anybody wants it, they're probably going to want to get mine that's signed. So, cookbooks, I've sold other cookbooks, just random, local kind of cookbooks, but it's signed by an author. Biographies, I wouldn't look through every John Grisham book that you see, because it's probably not going to be signed. But your nonfiction, your biographies, your cookbooks, things like that, just open them up and see. You'll be surprised how often I find autographed books, both at the bin drop and at Goodwill bins. And so that's what I wanted to mention today. Good luck with all that. I think that's everything I've got today. I kind of talked a little bit too much probably, but anyhow, I'm going to end it right here, and I hope that y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and good luck with everything, and I'll see you next time. Adios.